This is National Native News. I'm Antonia Gonzalez. Montana and other senators on the U.S. Senate Committee on Indian Affairs have voiced their concerns over the Indian Health Service decision not to release a report examining the scope of child sexual abuse committed by one of its former doctors. Aaron Bolton has more.
Dr. Stanley Weber was convicted of abusing young Native boys on Montana's Blackfeet Indian Reservation in 2018 and more recently on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota last fall. After the Wall Street Journal and Frontline jointly reported on how IHS officials allegedly ignored signs of Weber's abuse, the agency commissioned a report to investigate the claims. Montana Public Radio was denied a copy of the report in early February. IHS said the report contained protected private information. Montana Senators Steve Daines and John Tester both sit on the Indian Affairs Committee and took issue with what they called the agency's lack of transparency late last month. In response, IHS said it would provide lawmakers with what it called an executive summary outlining broad findings and recommendations. For National Native News, I'm Aaron Bolton.
The Umatilla Tribes at Wildhorse Casino in Oregon reopened Wednesday. It was closed for 48 hours for a thorough cleaning after an employee of the casino was diagnosed with the coronavirus. In a statement, tribal leadership said they reopened the facility after reviewing an inspection report from the tribe's environment and safety and health departments. Wednesday's coronavirus update from the Tribal Health Center to the community states there are no known positive cases of coronavirus on the Umatilla Reservation. The employee was being treated in Washington state following Monday's alert about the exposure. A tribal emergency command center was initiated as a response. Tribal leadership also closed schools and a senior center for cleaning and canceled tribal events for the week as a precaution. As tribes across the country prepare for the coronavirus, U.S. lawmakers Wednesday introduced a more than $8 billion emergency spending package to tackle the coronavirus in the U.S. According to the National Indian Health Board, $40 million is set aside specifically for tribes, tribal organizations, and urban Indian organizations. The House cleared the bill Wednesday. The National Indian Health Board is seeking assistance from tribes in assessing coronavirus impacts in Indian country. Federal agencies are taking part in a national conference call Thursday to provide tribes updates on the coronavirus. A federal official recently visited the Wind River Reservation to discuss rural broadband access. Wyoming Public Radio's Savannah Marr reports.
Federal Communications Commission Chairman Ajit Pai met with Northern Arapaho tribal leaders and representatives from the tribally owned company Wind River Internet. His visit came after the FCC awarded more than $4 million federal dollars to a broadband expansion project on the reservation. Pai said that Wind River Internet, which is carrying out that expansion, is one of only a handful of tribally operated internet providers in the country.
They're doing incredible work because they've got to work against the odds. Some of the geographic and demographic challenges I talked about, in many cases, access to capital is limited, and so we're doing everything we can to help those tribally owned telecom companies.
Data from the U.S. Census Bureau shows that just over half of Native people living on reservations have access to high-speed internet. On Wind River, the number is closer to one-third. The FCC's grant is expected to benefit around 800 homes on the reservation. For National Native News, I'm Savannah Marr.
And I'm Antonia Gonzalez.
National Native News is produced by Koahnic Broadcast Corporation, with funding by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Support by the American Indian Higher Education Consortium, working to ensure tribal colleges and universities are included in our higher education system. Info on 37 tribal colleges and universities at aihec.org. Support by the Sonosky Chambers Law Firm, championing tribal sovereignty and defending Native American rights since 1976, with offices in Washington, D.C., New Mexico, California, and Alaska.
Native Voice One, the Native American Radio Network.